Good morning, Board. We're requesting stricter rules and accountability for anybody that commits sexual assault, sexual abuse, or rape on the island, to be held accountable fully to the extent of the law.
On transgender unit, I'm very, very disappointed. The reason the city has given us to not continue this unit is that the rule of PREA says that you cannot have a trans. I mean, if the department is found to be non-compliant with PREA because it does not have a trans housing unit, that's not a problem. There's a tiny, tiny financial consequence to that, and there's a tremendous benefit to the women who are not going to be housed in that unit. I strongly urge the department not to create a new unit next year, not to close down the trans housing unit next year, not to close down the trans housing unit the year after that. I urge the department, I've done this within our personal meetings, and I urge them here publicly, since they are not going to be asking for all of the facilities on and off Rikers Island to be accredited under PREA at the same time, and that they have said it's going to take them up to 5 years to do this, that the last facility to be accredited should be the one that has the trans unit in it, and not to close this unit down next year. Thanks.
Thank you.
I went through sexual violence and assault, and the regular officers went on their New Year vacation, and the officers that replaced them and the supervisors thought it'd be a fun to put a male inmate in with me. And I had to wait until January 3rd to report it, which is really sad. I had to wait knowing that I was going to hopefully go home, and knowing that I had to get my rape counselor when I came off the island because they didn't have it. I was there for about 4 months before I came off the island. And when I tell you it was 4 months of hell for any trans individual, it definitely is. And some of them are there 2 and 3 years. Take what the Bible tells you hell is and multiply that by 10 for us in real life, especially if we're in a correctional setting.
Why?
Sexual assault would have never happened, but because of what happened to me, they finally opened THU, and I was one of the first trans women in that unit.
What's happening with trans unit? It's not mentioned. We're assuming it's going away as of January 5th, 2017. That's a shame. We fought long and hard for that.
I do think that we should not ignore the voices of those who have spoken about the transgender community, and we need to think about how we make sure that they are supported and that their rights are preserved through this effort.
One of the things that we know, which has been really devastating for the transgender housing unit, is a complete lack of funding and interest in it. There's very little programming that goes to it. There was a period about 4 months where there were no tables or chairs in the transgender housing unit.
What are going to be the actual consequences to not housing transgender people according to their gender identity?
We hear regularly that the folks who are in the unit are patched inappropriately, that they're referred to by the names that are not the names that they go by, that they're referred to as tranny or faggot or man, and these are all not in compliance with the rules that they're supposed to be following, and nothing happens to these officers.
There were 12, but it can hold up to 25, which is a problem because they basically make the process so lengthy, which is something else that shouldn't be. Keeping THU open as long as and shutting down the island, moving people to the borough jails. I'm fighting to keep it open. As one of the advocates that went through what I went through on the island, and then I'm out here and I care about my community and have for such a long time since Stonewall, I'm fighting to keep it open.